Welcome to Gorgeous Truckers Podcast. It is your girl, Mia Millions, and I am excited that you decided to join us today. On this podcast, we explore a wide range of topics, such as what's happening in the transportation industry. We'll also be conducting interviews from current transportation professionals. Our goal is to provide you with thought provoking content and insightful conversations that will help you along your journey in the transportation field. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into today's episode.
Welcome to Gorgeous Truckers Podcast. We back again. Yeah, again. It's your girl, Mia Millions. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We have, of course, another amazing guest. And yes, it is an amazing truck, her. So we're going to start the show like we start every show. Make sure y'all go to YouTube and subscribe to Mia Millions with Gorgeous TruckHERs. Also, we are on Facebook and Instagram. Just look up Gorgeous TruckHERs, and that's TruckHERs, Also, visit us at our website at www.gorgeoustruckhers.com. So, usually that stuff is strolling here. Oh, there you go, right there. Go visit us. Go subscribe to YouTube at at Mia Millions with Gorgeous Truck Hers. And again, there, right there, y'all see it, Facebook and Instagram. Go check us out. Make sure you like and share our page. So we have an amazing guest today by the name of Tangela. She is, like I said, an amazing truck her. She has been actually in transportation, I believe she told me about a year. So she's still a newbie. So I'm really looking forward to talking to her and you guys listening to her story. And again, Gorgeous Truckers, we are here each week. That's the thing. The goal, like I always say, the goal is to have a segment each week. And what we do is we invite interesting and inspiring guests to join us in conversation. We talk about their unique experiences in transportation. We talk about the pros and cons in transportation. We also talk about the opportunity that's in transportation. Talk about their goals, they give advice, I give advice. And then we just have general fun conversation about transportation, some stuff that maybe they didn't know but until they got into transportation. So again, we just talk about all these different ways of thinking, and we always invite you guys to listen and join into the conversation. So again, that's what Gorgeous Truckers is about. So we got the amazing Gorgeous Truck Her, Miss Tangela,
Hi.
um, as a guest today. I'm so excited to have her. Look, she's a busy woman. I've been trying to catch up to her for a while, but that's the life of a truck her.
Right.
So I thank you so much for joining, Tangela, and taking time out of your day to come and join Gorgeous Truck Hers and hopefully be an inspiration to some of the women that's out there trying to join the industry. So thank you for joining.
Thank you for the invite.
No problem.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, so I didn't tell them too much. I did tell them that you've been in transportation for about a year. Um, but I didn't want to tell them too much because I wanted you to actually introduce yourself and tell them just kind of a little bit about you. So the floor is yours.
Yes, ma'am. So, as she did say, I'm Tangela. I've been driving for a little over a year now. It's been a year and 6 months. This month made my 6 month in the industry. And so far, I like it. I believe my first year was when it was more of a tumultuous transition coming into the industry, not knowing anything about trucks at all, no real interest, but the whole time it was embedded in me because I am a generational truck driver, following the greats of my granddad and my father. who were also in the industry for years before they were no longer able to go continue on within it. So although coming into the industry without a general knowledge of it, it was within me. And it later did come out about 3 years ago when it was brought back to my attention to join the industry from a good friend of mine.
Okay.
Yes.
So, so your dad, you said your dad and your granddad was in transportation.
Yes. My father's dad and my father.
Oh,
So it's all on
wow.
my father's side.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So before you actually start driving yourself, like since your dad was a trucker, was you able to kind of get in the truck and play around? Like, was you, you know, did he teach you some things before you actually got into it professionally yourself?
Yes, the earliest that I can remember me being in his truck was around 10 years old. And I didn't remember too much, but I remember when he did come back home because he did stay out on the road. He did do OTR. But when he did come back home, it was a feeling of daddy's home,
Yeah.
So he allowed me to get in the truck and play with the bells and whistles. Back then, back in those days, the trucks were different and they had a lot
Uh-huh.
of little devices and
Little
dots.
buttons.
Yeah. So that was what I do remember. And he was the one who introduced me to it.
That's awesome. So was you one of those little girls that like, remember back in the day, you used to do like this to the truckers and they
Yeah,
would honk their horn?
yeah, that was me. And I still
Uh-huh.
do it today as a
Me
truck
too.
driver.
Me
Yes,
too.
as a driver myself, when I am driving past other trucks, that's me.
Yes.
And
That's
they
funny.
do it to me.
I don't think we ever get too old for that. I don't know what it is about that horn. It's something about it. Even as women now in transportation, it's still something about the horn.
Yes, yes.
And then
I
it's funny when you driving and other little kids, you see other little kids and they do this, and then now you actually get to be the one that makes their day.
mm, they don't know how much that they make my day when
Yeah.
I'm driving and I see a little kid and they'll just hover on the side of the truck until they catch my attention. And it's just the determination for me that they are trying to catch my attention. So
Yeah.
yeah, when they do catch it, I have the biggest smile on my face. I'm more than happy to do it for them.
Yeah, that's funny. So it's fair to say, because my next question was going to be what inspired you to take up a career in transportation. So it's fair to say that maybe your inspiration was your dad and granddad.
Yes, that was it. But also because if you would have asked me back then if I had any interest in truck driving, no, not at all. Would I think I'd be doing it today? Absolutely not. But they were a big inspiration for me moving forward into doing it. But I think what was really my inspiration was me to do what my father has spoke into me, and I could never forget this conversation me and him had when I told him I was going to be just like him one day.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "No, you're going to be better than me." And when stated that to me, that was an ignition of something in me to be like, okay, my father believes that I can do better things, greater things that he did while he was here.
Yeah.
So let's see where we could go to create that to be a reality. And that statement that he stated to me was something that stuck with me from that day until today. And
Yes.
it's always me bettering myself, becoming a better individual, becoming a
Yeah.
better person. And that was the that is what lit the flame within me
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
move forward, to be great, regardless of whatever I was going to do. I had to be better than what was left for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
And
love it. I love it. It's always important, as parents to speak life into your children. So the fact that he did that to you and it lit a fire for you, I think that's an amazing example of what speaking life into our younger, our younger youth can do. It may not sound idea at that moment. But then as
right,
you get older, you be like, you
makes
know
sense.
what? You start remembering what your parents told you. So that's
Yeah,
awesome. Shout out,
absolutely.
shout out to Pops.
Absolutely. And the fact that I have two young boys myself, the youngest one, he is showing an interest. So I feel like I'm paving the way for a
Mhm.
generational change within my bloodline to
Mhm.
do better and create good things for me and my family.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now, paving the way to create that generational wealth and just the the jobs for my children and for those to come.
Yeah. So how cool is it? How cool do they think you are for their mom to be driving a big truck like that?
So I had picked my youngest son up. He's 10 in the fourth grade. And I actually picked him up in the truck and trailer in front of his school one day.
Uh-huh.
And you should have seen the faces on those kids. It wasn't during, let's make this clear. It wasn't during the busier time.
Of
It was
course.
actually me picking him up from after school. So it
Okay.
was like around 5 in the evening. And the kids who were there waiting, when they saw him get into that big truck, they said, "Wow, that's your mom." So he enjoyed that moment, and it was a nice moment as well for me because I was showing the little children, the kids, the young girls and boys, that
Mhm.
this is also a great industry for you to consider at one point.
For
It
sure.
doesn't matter who you are. You can create it and be that too.
Mhm. Mhm. I totally agree. So, what do you find to be since you've been in it about a year and a half now, what at this point in your career, what do you find to be the most rewarding aspects of your job?
Learning. I'm so eager and hungry to learn more and more of the industry. Even today, I'm I started with no knowledge, no interest. I've done developed such a hunger for it. Now I'm like, what's next? What is it that I can feel and feed myself now
Yeah.
within this industry? It's a never ending learning cycle. There's always something new to
Yeah.
learn. And that's what it is for me. I'm ready now to move into something different just to gather the knowledge from that.
Yeah.
I drive vans now,
Mhm.
but I have a TWIC card. I want to learn intermodal. I'm
Mhm.
interested in car hauling. It's just I want to experience a lot within the industry during these earlier moments with me being in it. So I'm hungry.
I think right now is a really good time for that. And the I think the most rewarding thing about transportation is that it's always something to learn. Like, you know
Hmm.
how sometimes we get bored with repetition. We do stuff repetitively, you know.
And
And
that's
I
me.
think yeah, and I
Hmm.
think with transportation it's really good because one is forever changing. They're constantly doing and changing something. And then two is so many different areas to go. You don't have to only be a driver. You don't have to only, it's you can do logistics, you can do dispatch, you can do freight, you can do instructing. I'm an instructor. I'm also an examiner. So you can just, it's so many different areas you can go. And I think people don't know that. And I think people only, when they hear transportation, they only think of driving. I don't want to drive those big trucks.
Hmm.
So I think the fact that you, like you just said, you want to get into these different avenues. It's
Yeah,
definitely opportunities out there, and I think people need to be made aware of them.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
because I'm studying now for my hazmat.
Okay.
So it's just at this point in my career, I'm just taking in everything that I can take in, learning everything that I can learn, and just developing myself as
Mhm.
a driver because
Mhm.
this is long term. I don't want to always be in the truck driving
Right.
it, but I do want to establish what I can while I'm in the space to where I can develop myself as a driver. So when the
Mhm.
opportunity does come up for me to have my own, I driving for me would be optional.
Yeah. That's
Yes.
it. That's it. I think the fact that you have a plan is amazing. And I said this in my last interview. Like, I think when you go into this, I think you always should go into it with a plan. Okay, what am I doing in 5 years? Where do I see myself? Or, you have some people that really love driving and all they want to do is drive. And if that's their aspirations,
Yes.
cool. Um,
Absolutely.
but I also think you should go in with a plan and an idea of where you want to be. So I'm really glad you bring that up.
Yes. And like I mentioned before, my youngest son, he has an interest. Not to mention his father is a truck driver.
Oh, you just surrounded by truck drivers.
Unknowingly, it was just it was around me the whole time, not knowing consciously that it
Yeah.
was around me. So, but my youngest son is showing an interest, and although his father was a truck driver, he doesn't drive anymore.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm in that position to establish a solid foundation for my children if they do want to get into it. They'll have something to jump into once I'm at the point where I'm ready to just relax. So
Yeah.
I'm just building
Yeah.
generation wealth right now,
That's
and
awesome.
we're gonna take it from there and see how
I
that
know
goes.
that's right. I love it. So
Yes,
you said you do drive-ins now, right?
yes.
So are you doing OTR? Are you state to state?
No, I'm on a dedicated account. So some days I'm home. Um, I'm home about 3 days out the week, and I'm out the other two.
So can you explain to them like what dedicated is versus OTR?
Okay, from how I am, how I'm, my dedicated account is usually home every weekend. You're out 5 days out the week, home every weekend. But the fact that the account that I'm on runs between the states of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, it keeps me within the range of my home. So I can get back and forth home more than the usual, being that every stop that I have around is actually around me. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm no more than 1 to an hour, 1 hour or 2 hours away from that stop. So I can easily get back home between the days. But if there was any, if my stops were between, a couple of hours away, 3 or 4 hours away, then I would have to stay on the road because I'm not making that drive back. And remember, the fuel that I am fueled with is not mine. I don't put that fuel in the truck. So the account that I'm on keeps me within the range of my home so I can get back and forth when I need to get back and forth. Because one thing about it, my company does work with me being a single mother with 2 children. So they understand that I can't be out there, as long as some dedicated accounts would be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they're working with me to make sure I can get home a little bit more often than the usual,
Yeah.
and that's how it is. So the
Yeah.
dedicated account versus OTR is where you're working a specific account. Mine is like McDonald's. I work a specific McDonald's account where I don't run nothing but McDonald's products. And instead of just running one day, you might be running medical supplies to others, you might be running truck engines, which is, unpredictable. So those are the OTR versus the dedicated. A dedicated
Dedicated.
account is specifically one account running specific products for that company.
So I just did a video maybe last week just about why I think especially women mothers should get into CDL driving because one is so much flexibility. So
Mhm.
as y'all heard, like she's a single mom. She has kids at home. So having those dedicated runs where okay, I'm out this many days, but then I'm back home, it gives you a kind of not a set schedule, but kind of sort of because she at least knows
Mhm.
she's going back home.
Yeah.
At the end of the week. So I think that's really good. So what has been your experiences driving across these different states? Or like your experiences or even your challenges.
Okay.
What has been some challenges you've ran into?
Let's see. On this particular account, I think because I've been on this account for over a year. I started off on this account 1 year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In the beginning, with me being because I transitioned from a team driver driving a reefer into a solo drive-in driver.
Okay.
So that transition alone from being in the truck with somebody to not being in the truck with somebody and everything falls on you when it comes to, okay, how I'm gonna get out of this situation. That's
Mm-hmm.
where we at. When I started on this account in the beginning, transitioning into solo, it was a very interesting experience. I'm just fresh out of school. Um, Meaning from school, training, team driver, solo driver. So
Yeah.
I'm learning a whole nother way of transit. This transition was a whole another different thing for me. Everything was left to me. So in the beginning, I did have a lot of different challenges with the stops were different where I was once doing dropping hooks mostly. Now I have to get unloaded and loaded live. So that was different. Now you have to back this truck up all by yourself. So I had to learn quick. The spaces in Georgia, we're not even going to talk about the docking areas in Georgia. Okay, we're talking in the city, and a lot of those were that is a whole different conversation by itself. So I had to learn very quickly. I had to develop my skills very quickly within the first um within the first month of
Mm-hmm.
transitioning. So that was my challenge then. Moving on now, I think my new challenges are me trying to find something to challenge me because I feel like I've already established what I needed doing this way, you know,
Mm-hmm.
doing the dry van. So now I'm looking for the next challenge because it's no longer a challenge to me. And I'm actually desiring something that's going to give me a little bit more of a challenge because it's going to grow me and
Yeah.
it's going to just strengthen my skill that much more.
Yep.
So that's pretty much where I'm at now with my with the challenges then and now.
Versus now.
Now
Yeah.
where's the next challenge at? That's where we at.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Yeah.
looking for it.
Okay. So when you was in school,
Mhm.
because what type of challenges like did you have a hard time learning those maneuvers? Because I always tell my students when I'm teaching them, these cones that we having y'all back into, this is not how it's gonna be out there, right? So what
Yeah.
kind of what challenges did you have in school versus real life? Like, what is
Mm,
the variation? Not the in between. Can
yeah,
that you kind of noticed outside of the cone space?
yes. Well, the like you said, the cones, that is not the depiction of what you're going to be backing next to, because the cone is actually going to be a real truck.
Exactly.
So, but I mean, the cones were good to get me past, to
Yeah.
get me into the real experience that I had to go through. But I would my I believe when I was a team driver and we did a lot of dropping hooks where you're really dropping it in a lot.
Mhm.
Okay, so that gave me the confidence and the experience to prepare, to prepare for what you're really going to be parking and pulling up next to when you have to pull into a dock.
Yeah.
So you're dropping it in a lot and you have trailers within the lot, but you don't have trucks attached to them. There's really nobody there watching you. So you take all the time you need.
Mhm.
So, so that was what was necessary for me to go to the next step, to do live loads and unloads, because it helped develop the confidence in me
Uh huh.
to maneuver my trailer the way it needed to be done. And the cones in the school, like I said, that was good practice to get me my license. But
Yeah.
that is not what you're going to experience at all. But that now school does give me, they did give me the experience of driving amongst the rest of the vehicles.
Mhm.
But there were moments during my training in school where there were construction sites closing, so you have to reroute and go a different way. Excuse me,
Mhm.
somebody was calling. But it did have uh create, it did create me the experience and the confidence to drive around the cars that I was around, going
Yeah.
to, like I was mentioning, the construction sites, and yeah, just rerouting, small sharp turns, so I did get that out of it. But the
Yeah.
thing, yeah, that was
So what was the most challenging? Because I know that a lot of people, what kills them is the pre-trip. So what was the most challenging out of your school time? Was it the pre-trip? Was it the maneuvers? What was your number one issue?
mine was actually the maneuvers. I failed the first time. I
Okay.
passed the pre-trip, but when it came to, I believe, the 80 degree, the very last backing, the very sharp one,
The
I
90
think that's
degree
the 90
alley
degree.
dot. Mm-hmm.
That is where I failed my testing gap the first time around.
Okay.
So I wasn't even able to move on to do the road test.
Yeah.
And my school did allow us to do additional training, and they did allow us to take it again like a week later. I did pass it the second time around, but the first time, yes, the alley got
Hey,
me.
that's all that matters. I tell people, all right, you didn't pass that time. That's a delay. It don't mean it's the end of the road. It's just a slight delay. All right, you didn't pass. Cool. Let's take it again, and you'll get it next time. So I'm glad you took it again. It's I've known a few people that's like they just
Oh
give up.
no,
They just give up. I'm
no,
like, you went through all this training just to get
exactly.
here and give up. So yeah.
And that's me when it comes to me just developing my skills overall. Just talking myself to stay in it, not talking myself out of it.
That's
I
it.
made it too far to go ahead and throw it away.
Exactly.
Oh, that's me. Even with when I was having the challenges with backing, I had to talk myself to stick with it and to stay
Mhm.
in it,
Mhm.
because I was not giving up. That's not an option.
I know that's right. I like
Yeah.
that. So you as a woman on the road, I know I get this question often, with being a single woman on the road, you're out there by yourself. How do you ensure your safety? Like, do you have any type of, do you ever are you ever concerned about your safety as a woman on the
Hmm.
road?
Um, well, I was taught the seatbelt around the lock. I do protect myself that way. I do have other little things with me. Um, but at the same time, I've learned that my safe my safer places are parking in a rest area opposed from the truck stops.
Mhm.
I prefer rest areas than the truck stops. And that has a lot to do with me and my safety too. And I don't, after a certain time, I don't go out of the truck. Like I after 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I don't leave out of my truck just because I
Mhm.
don't want to give people, the idea of who's in that truck.
Yeah,
I
that's
am
smart.
by myself.
Yeah,
So.
that's smart. So, as a woman, or should I say a truck her, um, we know that the industry has been mostly male dominated, right? And it's been like
Yeah.
that for years. And we do have more women now joining the industry, but it's still mainly male dominated. So, what has been your experiences working in a mostly male dominated industry? Have you had any kind of the men? Because sometimes they don't think we can do it, but then you
Mhm.
get some that's really, really protective over the girls, and they want to make, they are supporters. I have a lot of supporters that are men. So what has kind of been your experiences in the industry?
Honestly, it's been pretty well. I haven't had any um problems with the my comrades out there. They
Yeah.
are very, very helpful. But me being the woman that I am, I they offer the help, but I have to just politely decline because at the end of the day, it's not that I'm not willing to receive the help, but I know if you weren't here, I would have to do this by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to set myself up to be expecting the help and it's not there for
Yeah.
me. So
Yeah.
I desire to continue and to maintain myself as a trucker as if you were not there
Yeah.
because not everyone is willing to help. And so I need to make sure I know how to do this and handle this by myself,
Yeah, for
regardless
sure.
of the situation that I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so that's how,
Okay.
yeah, I declined it. But
Yeah.
it's all for my betterment.
Yeah, it's for you to develop and know that you can do it yourself if nobody is there. So, yeah. All right, so I forgot to ask you at the beginning, before you got into transportation, what was you doing? What was your career field before transportation?
I was a shift lead at Walgreens forever. I worked.
Okay.
I started there pretty much right after high school.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Walgreens because I'm telling you, I left that company only to go back to it, and I was welcomed with open arms. And I was there for the longest, and that was really why it was time for me to transition into something new, because I pretty much hit the peak of where I was able to go in that
Mm-hmm.
field. Because in order to be a store manager, they do require you to have 4-year degree. That's what I didn't have.
Yeah.
I did have some schooling, and I needed a quick transition to get me more money and where I did not have to go to school for years just to make a decent living. Because
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much hit the peak of where I could go in that company, and I was there forever. And that is where I said, no, I need to do something different. I already created this space of being complacent in that position, but now I need a new challenge. I need something different.
It was comfortable for you.
It was
Mm-hmm.
very,
I think
very.
comfort. that kills a lot of dreams. And I say that all the time. A lot of times we get complacent, like you said, and we get comfortable. We know what we can do. We can do this job with our eyes closed. So we'd rather
Mhm.
stay there because we can do it. And sometimes, that ain't where your blessing is at. You gotta keep moving up. So
That's it.
that, that's
Absolutely.
cool.
That's it.
So because you transition into transportation, um, what in this new field, in this new area that you're in, what is, in your opinion, the most important life lesson that you've learned while working in the transportation field
Hmm. That's a good question. What is the life lesson
that you've learned
that
so
I've
far in
learned?
this field?
Man, I'm still learning. I'm still learning that because I'm not done. But what it has given me um the wisdom to know to keep going, not
Mm-hmm.
stop right there. Don't get complacent. And the thing is, when I do get comfortable doing it, sort of like where I'm at right now, I know it's time for me to move. It's time for something different.
Mm-hmm.
So it has kept it has put that in me to keep on moving regardless because it's a never ending cycle of growth.
Yes.
Yes, and that's what it is. Like I'm just desiring to learn more to see how far I can go, to see what
That's
I
it.
really create out of this. Because, like I said in the beginning, this is this is where we're going. We're establishing something great generational
Mm-hmm.
within this a step within this industry. So I'm not giving up right now.
I hear that. I
So
love it. So, last question. What advice would you give to others that's looking to come into the transportation industry? What advice do you have for them?
just just come on in, especially if you are looking for a quick transition in your regular routine and you want something that's going to really fulfill you later down the road, get your CDLs and see where it can take you. You can start off being a truck driver, but you might end up owning a bus company. So it's like the options and the opportunities are there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's endless. Once you get your license, it don't matter where you take it from there. You can start the business and allow that to just be an additional income for you.
Yeah,
You don't have to just do that one thing. Fill out the feel. Give it, fill it out. Feel it out, I should say. Feel it out.
yep,
See what it can do for you and how can you establish and create based off of that.
that's
So
it.
that's how I'm doing it at this point.
That's what's up. I
See,
love it.
yes,
Well, we talked for about almost 45, almost 40 minutes. Look at that. See how conversation just flow when we talking good stuff?
it,
All right. So thank you so much, Tangela, for joining Gorgeous Truckers and being an extension of the Gorgeous TruckHERs family and a supporter. I really appreciate you.
yes,
Um,
ma'am.
Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. Again, the purpose of Gorgeous Truckers is to use these these amazing transportation professionals and their stories and their journey and use it to on your own personal journey. So you want to take what we've already done and tweak it to work for you. So,
Absolutely. We're gonna have to do
and
an update.
we will. We
Yes.
will. I think that'll be good. So
Yeah.
those that's looking to join the industry, like Tangela said, get into it. And like Tangela's daddy said, you ain't gonna be like us, you're gonna be better than us. So we,
Amen.
we
Yes.
trying to we laying the foundation right now. We want y'all to go above where we're at right now. So thank
Yes.
y'all again for joining. Thank you again, Tangela. And Talk to y'all
Take care.
later.
Later.